Hey guys, Mike here. I do a lot of cycling on the road, so I use something called a Garmin Varia radar light. This is the Varia RC515. This is basically an awesome light that is built in already, and on top of that, there's this whole radar sensor down here below that then works with an application or with your bicycle head unit to notify you when you have traffic or obstacles or maybe cyclists, anything coming up from you from behind. And it gives you a little radar on your screen to let you know how fast it's coming, how quickly it will get to you, and also how many there are. So it tracks a number of bogies. This is the 715. This one has all that with the addition of a back-facing, rear-facing camera. So there's actually a camera right over there, and there's a lens. And why I'm posting about this is that I have just recently gotten one to supplement my 515. So the 515 is a little bit thinner. This one I expect to be thicker because it's got that built-in camera in there as well. So it's also going to be a little bit heavier. So if you are one of those people who are very weight conscious and you feel like you're in a close course, you don't need video evidence of anything that could be happening, maybe you just get the 515. That's not me. I ride in a lot of traffic. Most of the time I'm riding, there are definitely cars around, even as much as I try to avoid it. Up here in the San Francisco Bay Area, I'm down in the South Bay. Where I ride specifically is Sunnyvale, Cupertino, Mountain View, these particular areas, Palo Alto. I just need a little bit more information than I can get just by hearing cars coming up from behind. So I find that the radar helps a lot. Now, I'm a big proponent of dash cams on cars. Okay, so you have video evidence is going to help you in many ways should something happen. That's why I put dash cams in all my cars. I cover the front, the rear, the sides. This is just one further step into covering more of everything. I have a GoPro in the front that I use for my riding, and now I have something for use in the back. So here is the 515 over here on the right-hand side. On my right-hand side, and over here is the 715. Now I can see it's actually quite a bit thicker. So here's a little bit of a thickness comparison here. And for people who are weight weenies, a couple ounces more is probably going to bother you a little bit. And if you feel like you don't need an extra camera, it might not make sense. Now the problem I have with getting the 715 versus the 515 that maybe some of you guys did not consider is that if you already have one of these Garmin type mount things for the back, you're going to need a very specific special one for the 715. So look at the 715, and here's the mount for the 515. This is a twist-on type of mount that was specific also to a lot of the Garmin head computer units. Very similar. With the 715, unfortunately, it is completely different because I guess it needs to be a little bit stronger to hold on to the more weight of this. So this feels pretty weighty. And quite frankly, if I didn't know there was a camera in here, I'd say there's a lot of other hidden electronics in here. But yeah, it does have an HD camera in here. So looking at the back of the unit, I see what appears to be potentially something where I have to unscrew and stick on a separate battery in there. That was a little bit unexpected. I'm going to go ahead and pull out some more things that I find over here in the box. And this is basically the whole set of mounts that they give you to mount it in the back of your bike. I'm going to pull this out here. We'll get a closer look at some of these mounts. Now, because I do ride a number of other bikes, it looks like I'm going to have to pick and choose where I have this type of mount mounted as opposed to the 715. So, looks like I get a number of Velcros. And here's the more specific mount. Okay, look at that. That looks very different from the other 515 mount. And this is burlier, and I can also feel the weight. So this is quite a bit heavier than the standard mount for the 515 and for the other compatible accessories that is set aside for Garmin type of mounts. So that's something that I guess I considered, but until I was holding it, did I suddenly realize what a big difference that is just in the weight and the size of the mount. So we also get, these are the rubber type of mounts back there. Now, because this is so heavy and quite a bit more expensive, And then here's the sizers to go around certain things. So if you're going to put it on your seat post, for instance, you'll probably use a lot thinner one. And if you're going to mount it somewhere else, like maybe say the back of a bike rack, you're going to use a thicker one like this. See, like that. So the opening's like that. So I think that there are other compatible accessories that will help you to not lose this. This is fairly heavy. Actually, it feels about as heavy or a little bit heavier than my GoPro 12. I think there's a 13 Pro out now, but it feels a little bit heavier. And obviously, because you got a camera in there, you got the radar equipment in there, and then now you have a big battery to power it all. So this is currently on sale right now as of, I think the sale ends September 16th. It comes and goes on sale. This one just seems to be one of the bigger sales that's going on right now. So if you get a chance to go ahead and see this, and you think that you might need some sort of video evidence just in case it ever needs to go to court, or you need to go to judge or file an insurance claim or anything like that, having video evidence is so much easier to deal with, according to a bunch of attorneys that deal specifically with bicyclists and their injuries. Okay, down here is where you typically charge. There's a little bit there, and it is a bit recessed. I like that it is now updated to what I believe is USB-C. So the RC515 is still on micro USB down here on the bottom. Micro USB down here. And now we are updated to USB-C finally, but it's pretty deeply recessed in there, which might help with a little bit of weather resistance should any water come in, but you're also going to have to make sure that you have a thin cable to go in there. And then there's this other section here, which you can open up with a coin to see what's inside. Let me go ahead and take a look at that. All right, so in case you're wondering, where does the memory card go? It goes back there. In this coin operated opening here, a micro SD will then slide in here. Now there is apparently already one that comes with it already in here, but if you need to take out the video evidence for downloading on a computer as opposed to doing it off of the app, and it's going to be definitely a lot easier to do, in my opinion, off of a computer if you want the highest quality as opposed to using the app, is just to pull it out like here. And let me take a look and see which size they give me. And it is a 16 gigabyte card only. So I'm definitely going to upgrade this. I'm going to want to carry a little bit more than that. And just so you know, this is usually set up for loop recording, so that if something were to happen, you would have the last whatever bit of event that happened recorded on here. But because I want to record more, I'm going to stick in at least a 32 gigabyte. I'll put down on the page what the current maximum supported micro SD card is available on there for you to go ahead and choose and decide. Now the one I have here is just a class 1, so you know, we're just recording HD quality. I'm not even sure if it's full HD quality yet until I give this a shot. Inside we have of course, the USB-C cable. It's pretty standard, nothing special about that. And then we have a little bit of a user guide telling you what's going on here and how to charge and all that stuff. So according to the user guide, it looks like 1 hour will blink red, and then as it's fully charged, or as it's charging, you have green. So if you have less than 1 hour battery life, it blinks red, and if you are charging, it blinks green, and it will take 4 to 10 hours to charge all the way fully, depending on how much you use. Now obviously the more of the light that you use, the more the power is going to run out, and that's just because of the power draw. Turning it on, you just hold down the power button for 1 second, etc. Turn it off, same thing. Now to start recording, you could just hold down the record button on the side for 1 second. So there's this right here, this is the record. Hold that down for 1 second, it'll start recording. Hold it down another second, it'll stop recording in case you don't want it to operate. And most likely what I'm going to be doing is operating this remotely using my connection to my phone or to my Garmin head unit. Now this is also compatible not just with the Garmin's, it'll probably be compatible also with the Wahoos and the Brightons and everything. They will have something that will interface with this, although to varying degrees of capability. Since I only use Garmin, I'm only going to be talking about the way the Garmin thing works. You can pair it with the app, which is what I'm going to be using, which is the Garmin Varia app. It's free. And then you do the mounting and all that stuff, and it tells you exactly how you should mount it. So the best mounting spot is a little bit higher up there on the seat post, and definitely don't want it too low, because then you're affected by the trail of the bike wheel and anything that flies up there, and also you'll have less distance. Now the distance for this, so here's a representation of what it looks like on the app. So the app shows you 3 cars coming. It also lets you know, it'll blink a little bit of warning, which you can adjust if it's coming at a really fast pace, so you should be careful. And then over here, see, it tells you, gives you an idea. If it's coming really fast, you got to watch out. Red, and then orange is just if it's coming up on you, it's approaching up on you, whether or not cars coming up on me. This is a very good representation of what this looks like. Now, one of the really cool things about this also too is that there's a community of people who download an interface that goes with the along with the Varia, and then allows it to upload speed statistics so that you can see how busy it is on certain streets and how fast people are driving relative to you and also relative to the speed limit. So it gives you warnings about which roads that you should not take if you fear for your life. Because you versus a car, you on a bike versus a car, truck, SUV, you're going to lose every single time. And this at least helps the community, warns them of cars and vehicles that tend to drive way faster than the speed limit or encroach really closely to a bicyclist, and that you can try to avoid those routes. And I think that just builds a much better and safer community for communities that are basically designed for cars and not for people. Okay. All right, so the next steps is I'm gonna have this charged up, and then I'll show some footage from it after I mount it on my bike and ride around with it and give you an idea of what that looks like. If you are interested in this, there's a link down below. It is an affiliate link. It'll probably link you over to REI. If you buy anything from REI, that helps to support this channel. Thank you very much.